Hey there, folks. It's Adam here. Just going to do a little live stream talk about the snowfall that is occurring this evening that is tracking through the area, eventually into eastern Ontario. The forecast looks better, though, for sure. It definitely has pushed to the south, so the totals are not necessarily as high as they once were going to be. And that's a good thing, unless you really, really want snow. But overall, it's basically a good thing here. So, yeah, obviously I'm getting phone calls during the live stream, but these things happen. So, long story short, let me just poke through a few different things. I'm going to take a look at the radar here, the future radar. I'm going to look into the some of the models as well, too, to see what's possible. Touch on Brennan's Scenario 2 forecast map, because that seems to be by far the closest. If not, that might even be a little too much now, so we'll see. And hi, Angie, how are you? Let me just bring up some comments here. Angie says, hello. Hi, Angie, how are you? And let's see what else we have here. Riley says, darn snow in Windsor. Yeah, so it's going to start in the deep southwest in kind of the Windsor area and slowly track to the overnight. It's going to track more towards Niagara. Niagara might actually see a decent amount of snow as well, too. Windsor is a bit questionable. Some stuff looks like Windsor could see, a few inches, and some stuff looks lighter as well, too. So, but definitely parts of extreme southwestern Ontario could see, upwards of 6 inches or so. So we'll see. Yeah, so let's see here. So many comments coming in. Hi, everyone. How's everybody doing? I will try to answer as many questions as I can. I want to run through a couple of the models. I want to look at the forecast map and future radar. And then if you stick around long enough, I may just play you a verse and a chorus from a new song I'm writing. So Vaughn says, hold on, I can't even get to these comments. They're going so fast. Vaughn says, stop shaking the snow globe already. Yeah, it's almost time. It's time for us to transition over to mainly rain and some thunderstorms and all that kind of stuff. So hi, everyone. So many comments. I can't even click on them. They're going so fast. So it's really cool. I appreciate it. Oh, no, Becky says, if I can click on hers. No, it keeps flying away. Becky says, took our snow tires off last week. Uh-oh. This is going to be short-lived. There is going to be some snow following along with this as well, too. But like some little streamers that are going to be isolated. So let me press play on the future radar. I'm literally capturing our app and placing it as an overlay onto this image here. So, yeah, so this is literally the future radar from our app. Now, it kind of looks like it's drifting to the south as we go into the evening, but it's a very large system, and it's moving to the northeast. So, it's going to kind of rise up, drop back down a little bit, and then it's going to track through Niagara. It's going to touch on the GTA, we'll see, and then into eastern Ontario as well, too. So that seems to be the idea. Hello from Guelph, says Carrie. Hi, Guelph. Hi, Carrie. How you doing? Hi, Guelph. Okay, so let's flip over here. I'm going to try some new stuff as well, too. There's so much we have to experiment with, too, because, we're getting into storm season, and I'm personally as anxious as I am excited about, live streaming when there's dangerous storms. I want to try to do it as much as possible. And I know we're live streaming to so many different platforms right now, but a huge thanks to all those on our Ontario Tornado Watch page on Facebook, especially those who have become a supporter. You're a huge reason we're able to do this, and thank you so much for showing off your shiny supporter badge that comes with it. So thank you kindly. So Jason says he calls for 15 centimeters, but I don't know where he was talking about for that. So winter is back, says Sarah. She's scared. No, don't be scared. It's fine. This is just some snow. Now, if you are traveling and there is a few inches on the road and the majority of folks have their snow tires off, then that could get a little dicey. So as much as, it looks like the models are trying to downplay this now and trying to push it to the south, still could be some pretty sketchy driving situations. So please, if there is snow on the ground, consider the fact that you might be the only one around you who has snow tires on, and drive cautiously if possible. So, wow, so many folks in the comments here. This is fantastic. Okay, so by experimenting with stuff, though, what I was really trying to get at is on this platform we're using. This is a platform called StreamYard, and it's really cool. And they're not sponsoring this or anything. I'm just using it, and it's fantastic. And they allow us to have guests, which is pretty cool. So I mentioned this in a post before, but I can basically share a link to anybody who wants to kind of come up and ask a question, on their phone. It's super easy. So we might get to an experiment later where we bring some folks up to ask a question in like a video chat. I mean, everybody's so used to Zoom now and Google Classroom and all that kind of stuff. It's become a lot more normal, you know, for my, I'm sure at some point in time, Emmett's going to come bang on the door and wonder where I am. So I used to be kind of embarrassed by that kind of stuff, but everybody's so used to disruptions when they're video chatting online now that it's pretty common. So, okay, let me flip over here to Brennan's map. So this was scenario 2. Now, I think it's maybe even less than this for a lot of the areas, and we'll take a look at the models to kind of see how that reflects. But so scenario 2 is even maybe a little over the top now as it continues to track further to the south. So good news for those who didn't want that much snow. But this, this is possible for some areas in the pink or where you see the number 3. That is talking about 6 to 12 centimeters. Niagara looks very possible towards St. Catharines and the Niagara Falls area. Yeah, it looks possible that there's pockets there that could have several inches of snow. The Kingston, Prince Edward County part of that and Brockville, Cornwall, it's possible, but the latest model runs look less optimistic of that even happening. So the 2 area talks about 2 to 6 centimeters. So maybe a little bit more than a dusting from kind of the London area up to Ottawa. But I mean, again, the latest models look even lighter on that stuff. So we'll see how that works out. And then the area that says number 1, which is kind of teal, that is like trace. Some areas are going to see a trace of snow. Some areas are not going to see any snow at all. So it's kind of a trace, kind of a scatter there. So 6 to 12 centimeters is Tammy. But again, it's possible, but this might actually be over the top here. So let me just pull up one of the latest models. So I want to pull up the latest run of the Her model here. And so this is, it's interesting when there's a few different products you can use for snow, but the one that applies variable ratios, it sounds complicated, but what it does is it takes into account how much moisture, a few other factors, but it calculates the snow based on the ratio. Normally, it shows higher amounts. In this case, it shows lower amounts than the traditional ways of looking at the model. So this actually looks pretty low. Let me pull my mouse over here and see if I can show some areas. So that little pocket that's down southwest or southeast of Windsor is showing, possibly, where is it here? Possibly, 6-7 inches. But when I go up to Windsor here, it's showing like 1 or 2. So, and this is one particular model. There's more than 30 models that you can look at. But this is a pretty good one from the US, the Her model. And so that's what we're looking at right now. And it's rapidly updating all the time, which is helpful. So this is, we're looking at maybe 2 inches along towards Chatham. And then there's pockets where it kind of tapers off to maybe 1 inch or less. So there's pockets of a trace. We go over towards Niagara, and now we're back into the 6-7 inches possible for maybe Niagara Falls and areas that are right along Lake Erie. So that could be interesting for sure. Now, as we get up to, Hamilton's of 2 or 3 inches, maybe, we're looking at, I think some of the weather advisors are talking about 5 to 10 centimeters, maybe a little bit more in certain areas. But the GTA, I mean, Toronto is in its own little microclimate. And so it actually looks even less here, which is interesting. So as we go into Eastern Ontario, first Prince Edward County talked about, 4 inches in Prince Edward County, which is not too light. And I'm reading this literally off the model, which is, it's very possible that might not even achieve. There's a lot of evens there. That might not even achieve what it's expecting. So there's a lot of variables in play here, but just to give you an idea of what's possible. And then it shows Ottawa. Let me go up to Ottawa here. It shows less than 1 inch now. So this has really tracked to the south, that's going to make a lot of people happy because I know a lot of people didn't want the snow. But anywhere on this map that you see gray is like flurries or a trace amount of snow. And when you see blue, that's when you might get into a few inches, nothing too spectacular. But that purple in extreme southwestern Ontario and in kind of the just outside of St. Catharines into Niagara Falls, that looks interesting for sure. So we'll have to see how that does play out over time. So, I want to get to some questions here as well. Let's see here. So many questions. No snow in Niagara, says Gail. Not yet. So to give you an idea of timeline, actually, let me do that right here as well too. So I'm going to back this snowfall model up. I don't have the time up here right now, but I'll let you know what the time is. So Niagara doesn't happen until overnight, I believe. So this is kind of now-ish. Here's 8 o'clock. Not showing much accumulation, but it's kind of falling as snow and a little bit as rain in the deep southwest. But as I keep continuing to the morning time, that's about 8 in the morning there. So by the morning commute, parts of southwestern Ontario, parts of the GTA, and Niagara for sure is starting to get into it here. This is by 5 o'clock tomorrow. Let's go back to 21Z here, 5 o'clock tomorrow. And it doesn't really get that much after that. You see these little streamers to the north? They kind of happen by Thursday evening. So that's all the way into Thursday evening. We see some streamers coming off, but nothing too spectacular. So there is some good news there. A bit of good news. If you're into not as much as it looked like it was going to happen. But scenario 1 didn't look very good. But, and again, as much as I'm downplaying this, traveling conditions could still be terrible for some people. So could be interesting. So let's see if there's any questions here. Please let me know in the comments. And I will, what I like to do just to make life easy and to demonstrate how easy it is you tell me your location. I literally punch it into our app on my phone, and I read off what the app says as far as timing and accumulation, which seems maybe kind of lazy on my part, but our app is extremely accurate. And if you haven't downloaded it yet, please do. It's free. You can go to instantweatherapp.com to get it. And thank you so much to those who are using it, who enjoy it, and a huge thanks to those who have upgraded the radar to get that 5 hours of radar as well too, and to remove the ads. So yeah, for all those who are using our app, by the way, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but if you're on an iPhone, they're kind of changing the way ads work so that you have to accept or decline kind of, personalized ads and all that kind of stuff. So that could be interesting. Hopefully more of you accept it than decline it, because if you do decline it, our ad revenue on our app is going to go in the toilet. So that would be bad. So yeah, if it does ask you a question like that, please say accept. Just so you know, we don't sell any data. We obviously, we don't even ask you for your name or your address or anything. We don't ask for anything. You literally just open the app and use it. So we are not big fans of that process. So we try to, we just want to keep things as private as possible. You just use our app. Don't even tell us your name. Don't even log in. That's how we like it. Makes more sense that way. So, hi, Rachel. How you doing? Wendy says Windsor. Okay. Windsor. There's like 10 or 15 people who have already said Windsor. So I will look up Windsor, and I think our app is actually pretty low on the Windsor totals here. So let me see. Windsor. Let me bring that up. Currently says it's snowing, or there's flurries. We say 5.1 centimeters for Windsor and 0.3 millimeters of rain. So that, based on the model we were just looking at, let me take off Indy's question here. And let me take off our instantweatherapp.com. And yeah, that looks possible. It doesn't really look like that much. So it says 5 centimeters. So maybe just a couple inches in Windsor. We'll see. That's what the app says. The app also updates all the time. So if you go back to the app and pull to refresh, you get the latest data. It updates the overall forecast for 15 days updates every hour. And the minute product actually updates every 15 minutes globally, which is pretty crazy. So anywho, let's go back and try to answer some more here. Misty says Rockwood, Ontario. I have no idea where Rockwood is, but it sounds amazing. Rockwood. Rockwood, Tennessee came up. I don't think that's it. Oh, at the top it says Guelph/Uramosa. I don't know how to pronounce that, but Rockwood, Guelph. Okay, I think that's probably it. Let me know if it's not. So, yes, I would. It only says we're looking at 1.8 centimeters for today and 0.3 tomorrow. So, as this has tracked further to the south, those areas like Guelph, as you can already see on this map, Guelph's only kind of in the gray, which is only a trace amount. So, yeah, a couple centimeters it looks like for Rockwood, Guelph area. Okay, what else we got here? Dawn says London. And I know we have so many folks in the London area. Huge shout out to our London community, as I think they probably surpassed Toronto and Barrie. I'm from Barrie, and somehow London has surpassed Barrie as probably one of our biggest communities. So, or our biggest community. So London says 2.8 centimeters and nothing tomorrow. So 3 centimeters for London. It looked like inches and inches for London on that first scenario, but as it's pushed to the south, it looks like less. So that's pretty cool. It says light rain right there right now. So big improvements are coming to the conditions. So again, on the app right now, it says light rain, but is it light snow there? Is it ice pellets? We have some huge improvements as far as how you can also influence the condition, because we're going to have a little report bar on there. So it's going to be pretty cool. We do have a report page right now, but it's pretty long and lengthy and not the easiest to submit a report. But we're going to make it super, super easy. Just go click, it's raining, not snowing, and then we'll use machine learning to determine how many of those reports are coming in and if it should influence the condition of that area. So pretty cool stuff we're working on. It's exciting. So Monica says, woohoo, Barry, props, Adam. Thank you, Monica. I appreciate it. I will look up the Barry forecast because, yeah, I live there. So it's probably going to use my exact location. So I'm over by kind of the Georgian College area. And it says, it doesn't say much, 0.3 centimeters today and 0.4 centimeters tomorrow. I wasn't expecting much, but, you know, as this continues to push to the south, as parts of, you know, central Ontario and stuff, you're going to see trace, if that. So we'll see here. Ashley says it's snowing in Thames Center. So I think I pronounced that wrong, but I pronounce everything wrong. And actually, I don't just live stream in Ontario. We've got pages across Canada. You should see how terrifyingly horrible it is when I try to live stream in Manitoba and I just can't pronounce anything. I mean, like, people are like literally phonetically spelling things out for me in the comments so that I can pronounce all these different French towns and stuff. It's terrible. I try, though. That's all I can say is I try my best. I can pronounce this, Grand Bend. I can do that. Grand Bend. Let's have a look. And thank you, Sharon, for asking. Grand Bend. Let's see here. How's Grand Bend doing? Lambton Shores, it comes up as, yes, 0.4 centimeters. So not that much for your area either. Although, if you look at the model in the back, which is that HER model, the HRRR model, it does show kind of, there's a few little pockets near Grand Bend that get into 2 or 3 inches. And just south of Goderich is as well here with 3 inches. So, you know what? One of those could show up slightly further to the north, slightly further to the south. It's hard to say for sure. So you never know. There could be a little bit more than that, but we'll see. We will see. I hear footsteps. I think it's Emmett. It will be no time until Emmett's banging on that door going, Daddy, help me with my plane. And rocket. He loves planes and rockets. Okay. Caledonia, says Nicole. You just happen to be in the right spot where my mouse was, so I'm gonna put this up here. Caledonia. I like that name. I think I pronounce it right. I think. Let's see here. Caledonia. Sometimes you got to put Ontario afterwards. So I'm gonna put Caledonia and then put Ontario and see what happens. Yep, it comes up as Caledonia. I can't pronounce that county. I'm not even gonna try. Please put it in the comments of how to pronounce that county, because I cannot. Haldemand? Haldemand? No. I'm the worst. Okay. Well, it actually says that Caledonia could see 6 centimeters today, 1.1 tomorrow. So that's a little bit higher than we have seen in the past as far as totals are concerned. You know what I'm going to do right now as well, too? I'm going to flip back over to... There we go. Past and future radar. So you can see at least what's happening this evening. But it's going to it's going to track further to the north as well, into parts of eastern Ontario overnight as well. So thank you very much for your question. Let's see here. How is Belleville, says Linda. How is Belleville? Please phonetically... Alderman. Alderman? Are you sure? Why is there an H? Anyways. Okay. Alderman. Alderman. I see. It's a silent H? Really? I never would have known. It's all good. Thanks for letting me know. Side note, I definitely need this water. It's going to be fantastic. Okay, where were we? I did promise a song. There's a new song I've been working on for a little while. Emmett seems to enjoy it. He actually has a pretty good ear for music. But anyways, I'm going to show you a verse and a chorus if you stick around for a little bit longer. But first, I want to answer some more questions. So Linda says, how is Belleville? So let me pull up Belleville here. Belleville, Ontario. Okay. 2.4 centimeters tonight and 2.9 centimeters tomorrow. So 6 centimeters. That's what our app is saying. Sometimes the app is a little bit of an underestimator, whereas because there's a lot of machine learning going on there, and it finds reasons to make it less, and then with historical analogs and all that kind of stuff. And then for the models, they seem to overestimate a little bit. So it's kind of good to compare, the forecast maps to the app, kind of, slice it in half between the two, and it's probably pretty close to what you're going to get. Let's see here. At least it's nice to see the range too, right? Of what the lowest possible could be and what the highest possible could be, instead of just some perfect guess that is never perfect. So where was I? Belleville. Yeah. So yeah, the 2.4 and then the 2.9. Okay. Let's see a few more areas. Somebody asked about Godrich, which is already long gone. So many questions. Not a silent H, says George. See, so it's Haldeman? The H does get pronounced. Oh, okay. Haldeman, I think. Godrich, I did see a little bit earlier that there was a little pocket of a few inches south of Godrich. So it's possible. It's all possible here. So Haldeman, says Rachel. Thank you very much. That's a little Haldeman. Oh, men. Is it like the eh? There's a lot of E there. Thank you for bringing that up. See, it's not just in Manitoba and Alberta and Saskatchewan. I also cannot pronounce anything in Ontario. So, hey. Trying my best. There's 2 Oshawas in a row from Nancy and from Fran. So thank you so much for that. And I will pull that up here 1 second. Thank you so much, Fran. I appreciate it. Oshawa. I'm not assuming it's going to be that much, but let's see here. 2.4 centimeters tonight and 1.1 centimeters tomorrow. So 3 centimeters-ish, maybe a little bit more. But that doesn't sound completely out of the question, so that sounds about right. So Patty says, the weather advisory sent to my phone says 10 to 15 centimeters for Hamilton. No. And there's a big long no. So, yeah, it's possible. Let me look up Hamilton. Hamilton does have a weather advisory from Environment Canada right now for 10 to 15 centimeters, which is possible. It's not completely out of the question. However, right now our app is saying 3.9 centimeters for tonight and just a centimeter for tomorrow for Hamilton. So 5 centimeters for Hamilton. It's a little on the light side. We'll see. Again, the app sometimes can be a little bit on the cautious, on the conservative side as far as totals are concerned. And yeah, that's why, Brennan puts out the nice forecast maps to show what maybe the higher potential could be. And then it's maybe somewhere in between those two. So that should give you a pretty good range as far as what is possible. A huge thanks to those. I know, again, we're on so many different platforms right now. We're on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, our Instant Weather app group on Facebook. We're on Instant Weather Canada, Instant Weather Ontario, and Ontario Tornado Watch on Facebook. So, but a huge thank you to those who are on our Instant Weather Ontario page for sending in stars. So I really, really appreciate that. When we do these live streams, I go back and look, and there's so many folks have sent in stars, which is like a little tip jar. And thank you so much. It really does make a big difference. So thank you kindly for that. And a huge thank you to those on our Ontario Tornado Watch page for doing the Become a Supporter. Everyone doing that is fantastic. Thank you so much. Something that I want to make clear that we mentioned before as well too is that even if you become a supporter, it doesn't mean you're gonna see content that nobody else is gonna see. We don't think hiding content to those who are able to pay is a good idea. So become a supporter gives you a nice shiny supporter badge, and you're helping our team. You're also helping the whole community because it's just going to allow us to do more live streams, more videos, more updates, all of that stuff. So thank you so much to those who have done that. Those who are on our Patreon page, if you look up Instant Weather on Patreon, and those who use our app and our text message alerts and all that stuff. So thank you to all of those who have ultimately allowed us to be a weather service for you in Ontario. So thank you kindly. Really makes a big difference. So Regina says, Angus, I can pull that up for you here. Give me a second. I don't think those areas to the north or further to the north are really going to see that much accumulation because this system keeps tracking further and further south. And our app's only estimating 0.3 centimeters for you tonight and 1.1 centimeters tomorrow. So it doesn't really look that spectacular for you. So Heather says, Stouffville, what do you see, my friend? Snow, tornado, maybe a little bit of snow. Tornado, no. That's not at this point in time. Who knows what the rest of the season can bring? But at this point in time, that's definitely not in the cards. And if it is, then I'll eat my hat. But no. But thank you for the question. I will look up the snowfall for you guys, though. STOUFFVILLE. Let's see here. Dun, 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 dun. I got it right here. And it says 1.8 centimeters tonight and 1 centimeter tomorrow. So nothing too spectacular for you as far as snowfall is concerned. But hey, again, if everybody's got their snow tires off, or at least the majority of folks do, and they're not driving according to conditions, then we could be hearing about some accidents. So that would be bad. Hopefully everybody stays safe out there. How's Cornwall looking, says Eric. I'm going to pull up Cornwall. I'm actually curious as well, too, because, we kind of know what's going to happen in southwestern Ontario and Niagara, but because that's so close to now. But what happens over the night and into the morning as this tracks into eastern Ontario is a big question mark. Wow, so the app says 0.9 centimeters for tonight, but the highest total we've seen so far, it says Cornwall is going to get 8.1 centimeters tomorrow. So maybe it's starting to sense that it pushes just a little bit further north as it gets into extreme eastern Ontario. So I wonder for Brockville, too. That might be interesting. Kingston, see, that's the thing is, though, the models are showing pretty light for Kingston. Thank you, Lisa, for asking. Let me pull up Kingston here while we're on the topic for our friends in eastern Ontario. Kingston, Ontario, let's see here. 2.3 centimeters tonight and 5 tomorrow. So kind of similar to what Cornwall was looking at just earlier. So yeah, 5 centimeters tomorrow it's estimating. So we'll see. Again, the app's pretty conservative for totals, and it's saying that much. So a few centimeters, a few inches is certainly a possibility here. So let's see here. So Kathy says, how's Ottawa looking? Now, with Ottawa, you're even further to the north, so maybe a bit more questionable as far as what you could be receiving here. Yeah, see, it's only 0.1 centimeters tonight for Ottawa and 0.8 centimeters tomorrow. So a couple of centimeters for Ottawa. So it looks like this is going to remain along the international border. That looks to be the case here. So we'll see. We will see. Let me just ask about, what about Peterborough, says Chantel. Thank you, Chantel, for your question. I will pull up the Pitbo Peterborough. Let me pull that up here real quick. Side note, what I'm doing right now, you could literally be doing if you had our app. I'm literally just on our app right now. Which is very helpful because it updates all the time, rapidly update information. But I like to, it's fun to come live and answer as many questions as I can to make it as easy for everybody as possible. 2 centimeters for tonight for Peterborough and 1.3 centimeters tomorrow. So it doesn't look too spectacular. It says windy on Thursday. So yeah, on the backside of this, it could get pretty windy here. So we'll see. We will see. Okay, so what other places? Jackie, I already answered Grand Bend, but it didn't look like too much. It was a few centimeters, but there was, on one of the models, it showed a few inches just nearby. So if that shifts a little bit to the north or to the south, it is possible that you could see, a little more. We'll see. Okay, so how about Brockville? I did want to look at that, JJ. Thank you very much for asking, because Brockville is right along that line. It's probably pretty similar to what we saw for Kingston, which in total was around 7 or 8 centimeters. This is on our app, which is a bit conservative, so maybe even more. And then Brockville, I'm wondering what they're dealing with here. Oh, I typed Brock. That's not helpful. I got distracted easy. It happens. Okay, Brockville says 1.5 tonight and 6.5 tomorrow. And the 6.5 tomorrow is sitting with a 96% chance of precipitation. So they seem pretty confident. They being the models and the machine learning and everything associated there. So, okay, so can you please say how much for Windsor, says Charmaine. Thank you for your question. I think I pulled it up before. Let me just swipe over. I don't know if you know as well, too, but you can swipe left and right on our app to go to different locations. So that is helpful. I'm just going to swipe over real quick back to Windsor. Where are you here? So Windsor was 5.1 centimeters tonight and nothing tomorrow is what it says now. Did that change? I think it changed since we first looked at Windsor on this live stream. It literally changed in that period of time, which is crazy. So yeah, that's what happens. The forecast updates all the time. That's our app saying 5.1 centimeters. There is a weather advisory for Windsor that talks about 4 to 8. So that's possible. Could get a little bit higher. We'll have to see. And I know that the forecast map for scenario 2 actually talked about 6 to 12 possible in that area. So depends on where it lands, but a lot of stuff I've seen didn't look that spectacular for Windsor. So Anne asked about Ottawa, and I just mentioned that it was it was like trace. It was like a few centimeters at most. Harry is on YouTube here. We got a comment from YouTube, which is pretty cool. And he says, how much for Kincardine? I don't think it's going to be that much. Kincardine's pretty far north compared to where the system is tracking. So, and this system has continued to push south. When we first saw it show up on the models, it was tracking through Muskoka and eventually kind of settled around central, kind of through the center of our area. And then it started pulling a little bit to the south, which is not uncommon. We've seen that happen before many times. You know, there's times a few days out where we're like, oh, this looks pretty sketchy. And then it starts to track further and further south. So it definitely happens. And in this case, it looks like it has happened again, which is good news for those to the north who didn't want to shovel like me in Barrie, where I'm going to get a few centimeters at most. There was actually a tiny little bit of snow on the cars this morning in eastern Barrie. So our app for Kincardine says 0 millimeters today and 0 millimeters tomorrow. So I wouldn't expect much. That looks pretty low. Definitely pretty low. Teresa said London, and I think London earlier, yesterday or the day before, it looked like there was still potential for it to get several inches and be pretty impactful. But the last time I checked, it didn't look that spectacular anymore. Let's see what it says here. London, Ontario, the latest in our app says 2.8 centimeters tonight. So maybe 3 to 5 centimeters. You know, it's possible for isolated areas to see a little bit more, but it is pretty questionable here. Pretty questionable. So, wait, what did that say again? Yeah, 2.8. So Heather says, so London is 2 centimeters. That's what our app is showing, and naturally our app is a bit conservative. Maybe a little bit more. It's hard to say. Here's a good question. This is what I want to look at. How much for Niagara on the border of Buffalo? Let's see what this says now. This could be interesting. Niagara Falls. I will pull that up for you. This is where it could get more interesting. We'll see. It's a little bit more interesting. It's not as spectacular as I was wondering, but 8.2 centimeters tonight and 3.7 tomorrow. So, and that's conservative. So I think our map was saying 6 to 12. It's possible. You could see maybe 12, maybe even a little bit more, maybe up to 15 centimeters in the Niagara Falls region. And that could overperform a little bit as well, too, but it's a bit questionable with how dry the area is right now. So we'll see. We will see. Sue asked about Barrie. Not much. It's a few centimeters at most. At most. Laura says she's right beside Niagara and she's laughing. Hold on, where is she? There we go. I'm right beside Niagara. Haha. Yeah, it's if anybody's gonna get it, it's Niagara. That's where we should see the biggest totals. But you know, if it starts to turn a little bit to the north into tomorrow, maybe Cornwall gets clipped a little bit harder than it is. So Kieran asked about Waterloo. Let me pull that up right now for our friends in KW. Waterloo, great sushi. I've had sushi in Waterloo. It was fantastic. 1.5 centimeters for tonight and 0.1 centimeters for tomorrow. So not that much up that way. Yeah, this is a rare event, and a lot of folks are saying, how come it's larger snowfall totals along Lake Erie and Lake Ontario than we're seeing to the north? And that's just because this is a big system moving through the U.S., and it's just the very top of it is clipping us. So that's basically it. That's basically it. Let's see here. Karen says, how much expected for Niagara region? It's possible you'll see 10 to 15 centimeters. Maybe isolated areas could see a little bit more than that. But Melissa says, already wet snow in Niagara. Oh, well, interesting. Wet snow in Niagara right now. Well, Anne asked about Hamilton. Hold on. It's so hard to get through these. I'll get Wendy's first here because she asked about Russell. So I don't know where Russell is. Maybe she's asking about a person. but I think she's asking about it here. Russell, Ontario, I'm going to type. If you search in our app, by the way, if you haven't downloaded it yet, please do. It's called Instant Weather. If you go to instantweatherapp.com, let me pull up my fancy little banner here. Instantweatherapp.com, you click on Apple or Android, download it for free, and it gives you a 15-day forecast. It gives you hourly out to 10 days, and it gives you a minute product that goes out to 6 or 7 hours, I think. So Russell, Ontario. But my point was, when you type your location in the app, you might want to add Ontario to the end of it, just to really confirm exactly where it is. You don't have to. It usually gets it, but it's nice to add that to it. So Russell, Ontario says 0.5 centimeters tonight and 2.5 tomorrow. So thank you so much for your question. Jump back in the comments here. Excuse me. Oh, Russell's by Ottawa. Oh, okay. I should know that by now. Been doing this for how long now? I think this is going into our 8th year? Hold on. We started in 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. We're going into our 8th season. 8th season. You know what I need to get? Like Ontario Tornado Watch or Instant Weather logo on the coffee. I don't even have my own coffee cup. I need to upgrade desperately. Okay. So where were we here? Bowmanville. Carolyn asked about Bowmanville. I'll look up a couple more locations. Then I'm going to play a song as I promised, and then I'm going to shut down the live stream. But thank you so much for joining me. If you do have to travel during these times, especially if there's snow on the road, if it does start to accumulate, please be cautious. Please think that probably everybody else on the road took off their winter tires already. So that's a good assumption, and driving cautiously is a good idea. So let's see here. But not so cautiously that you're actually causing problems. There's a fine line there. I've been on both sides of that. It's interesting where someone's driving, 70 kilometers an hour and the road's clear on like a 400 series highway. That's when you start to get into problems. That's because then everybody passing is like super angry, and then it's just we don't need that road rage. It's so funny. We're so nice to each other in person. Like, oh, can I hold the door open for you? I'm so sorry, so sorry. Like Canadians are so in person. They're so nice to each other, and as soon as you have the car covering us and we can't see each other's faces, everyone's like, it's pretty funny and sad. Okay. Andrea says it's not really a bookend vortex type of day, so I'll never say no. Well, this is definitely not a weather song, but this is just a song anyways, the song that I've been working on. So we'll see if you like it. I was going to look up one more location. What was it again? Does anybody remember? It's so far gone. I looked up Russell. I was going to look up one more. Let me scroll up and see. Bowmanville. That's what it was. Bowmanville, which is over by Oshawa, I believe. Bowmanville. Let's see here. Along Lake Ontario. Bowmanville. Okay. 2.9 centimeters tonight and 1.5 tomorrow for Bowmanville. And you are under the weather advisory for 4 to 8 centimeters. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Everybody screaming out their town name and their city name. I appreciate it. If you want to do exactly what I'm literally doing right now, which is using our free app, Instant Weather, to look up your forecast, please take 2 seconds, whether it's after the stream or not, but take 2 seconds and go to instantweatherapp.com, or just pull up your app store, whether it's Google Play or the Apple App Store, and type in Instant Weather and look for our blue icon. It's like an IW blue icon. Please download that, and I really appreciate all those who are using it, and all those who are talking about it and telling everybody about it, and all the wonderful reviews we've had. It's really wonderful. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. So without further ado, I'm going to play one verse and one chorus of a new original tune that I've been working on for a little while at least. And then I'm going to shut down the stream. So thank you so much for joining me. And hopefully you enjoy this tune. I'm just going to make a quick adjustment on my audio settings, so it's not so made for talking and more made for music. So give me just a second here, and I will make that adjustment. So I'll take off my expander and my widener, and that should change things a little bit. And then I will play that tune for you, and then I'll shut her down. So let's see. Am I in tune here? Yeah, that's close enough. Let's see. Close enough. Okay, I'll play one verse and one chorus, and then I'm going to log off. So thank you so much to everybody for joining us on the live stream. Again, we're trying to live stream as much as we can. Thank you to those who are sending in stars. Thank you to those who've become a supporter on our Ontario Tornado Watch page. The stars are on Instant Weather Ontario. We'll probably add both to both, but thank you. I appreciate it. Time, it was on my side. It was waiting for me to get it right. You were on my mind, waiting for me. The time was right. Time, it was on my side. Time, it was on my side. Hold them tight, hold them tight. It was on my side. Hold them tight, hold them tight. It was on my side. Hold them tight. Thank you very much. Little tune I wrote. I'll try to finish it and put it out one of these days. But until then, we'll just play it on the live streams. Works out fine. So thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate it. Have yourself a wonderful day. And if you do have to travel, please be safe about it, because if there is snow on the ground, then it could get a little sketchy. So thanks so much. We'll talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.